part 2 of this video, and I'm reading from an essay which was posted on the Daily Coast site. And so let me just go on, and please go to the first part that I read on here first. It goes on, it is amusing if remarkable that there are still some players in Washington who try to remain or maintain the fantasy that the Afghan president, Hamid Karzai, governs with anything akin to legitimacy. Karzai, by the way, was also a chairman and chief executive officer of Unocal, a big major oil company, and he also worked for the CIA, for that matter. So Karzai, an alleged oil industry fixer, was awarded control of his country by the occupying powers that he has always served with certain strings attached. And of course, the Afghan people have been quite aware of this for some time. So he has, out of instinct and by necessity, relied on fraud to win this election that have kept him and his cronies in power. Just as the United States, by the way, also supported the Taliban in prior years, when President Obama and others are now proclaiming that the Taliban is our enemy, when in fact we brought them to power in the first place during the escalation in that country years ago, when it was about the Soviets invading Afghanistan and controlling the resources there. So, you know, it's quite an irony in a much larger picture, which due to 24-hour news cycles, most Americans will miss entirely, because prior history is left out of all of this completely. But you know, this entire fantasy is getting harder and harder to maintain now that Bush has retired and Cheney has repositioned himself as the planet's primary defender of torture. And I will post another video regarding that very subject also, since nowadays it seems most Americans, 54% of so, are now in favor of torture of some kind, because it may bring about some intelligence for somebody. So this is essentially what our country has come to. We are a nation of whiners. Well, yeah, it's true. We're a nation of whiners. We're in support of torture of others, as long as we aren't tortured, of course. And the popular opinion in this country, with most people having been brainwashed for so many years, is now going towards a unprecedented regression in terms of matters of justice, morals, empathy, especially empathy, and isolationism, not caring about what others think, and we're just basically deluding ourselves into a mindset to where the empire will prevail no matter what. You know, Bernie Madoff, the shyster on Wall Street who defrauded many investors, he went to prison because, and he was brought to justice because, not because he was a cheat and a liar. He's going to prison because he defrauded the rich people, those who already had the money. And man, yep, people like that will go to prison. Don't do anything to the prevailing elites, for heaven's sake. But Bernanke and Tim Geithner and others doing the same shit on Wall Street are going to get off scot-free, because they're not defrauding the rich. They're defrauding us. They're defrauding us instead. So, they can continue on with their little games, or rather, big games. And they're continuing to do so to this very day under this administration and the administrations prior to this. So no, it's not an issue, a bipartisan issue. It's a human issue, and it's a fraudulent issue, and it should concern us all, because there will come a time when most people will have had enough, depending on how bad things get. And the more you have in terms of this disparity of incomes and the distribution of income, the more enemies will be made. This, historically, over time, millenniums, well, not millenniums, but as far as human existence goes, leads always into conflict amongst the people. And it is never directed against those who are actually causing the damage. We should be very careful about hanging people on lampposts in terms of retribution. What we should be very careful about is fighting against and amongst each other, while the elites are calling the shots. Good night.